Hey there, champ. Slugger. So you saw something on the TV that made you feel a little rustling in the underoos. Listen, it's nothing to be ashamed of. You've got a changing body. Where are you going? There comes a time in every young person's life where they wonder, who am I? What's my thing? And most importantly, if I'm sharing a tent with my best friend Brad on a camping trip and he starts to kiss me, would I kiss him back? Hypothetically. I mean, I didn't think of that. Listen, Brad was a very good baseball player, and what I'm trying to say is third grade was a confusing time. 1 minute you're fast forwarding through a kissing scene because, ew, gross kissing, and the next thing you know, you're like, what would it feel like to have my lips on a girl's lips? And if you grew up in a religious environment like I did, then there's no way you were going to talk to somebody about it. What would I say? Hey, Mom, why do I keep on staring at the part of a girl where poop comes out of? They'd think I was crazy. I mean, nowadays we call that being repressed, but back then we just called it nothing. We called it nothing because we didn't talk about those things. So you can probably imagine the kind of long-term damage that stuffing that stuff down does. And I mean, I could go to a therapist, but I can't afford one. So I'm just going to talk to you instead. Here are the people on TV who gave me the most confusing and awkward moments of my young life. First up is Wonder Woman. No, not that one. No, not that one. No, the real one. Yeah, there she is. Linda Carter from the original series. I remember as a kid staring at this woman and not knowing why. Maybe it was the giant puffy granny panties or that perfect mixture of sweet and tough. Sometimes she would tie up a guy with a lasso, and that gave me all kinds of weird feelings I didn't understand. However, I do understand them now. Sorry. I was such a big fan that sometimes I would pretend that I was Wonder Woman around the house, which worried my dad quite a bit, but whatever. By the way, little boy, if you want to act like Wonder Woman, go ahead. If Dad has a problem with it, it's Dad's problem. Now, a lot has been said about Princess Leia and how seeing her in the metal bikini was a big moment for a bunch of little boys. And I was no different. But to be fair, I was madly in love with Princess Leia no matter what she was wearing. Beautiful. Wonderful. Marry me. Hot. You bet I still would. Rest in power. The TV show Pee-wee's Playhouse had a very special character by the name of Miss Yvonne. I mean, look at the size of that hair. Pretty hot. Everyone in Puppet Land loved her. She would just float through a room. I was very much in love with this woman. But apparently I wasn't the only one interested in Miss Yvonne. My dad hated Pee-wee's Playhouse with a passion. But for some reason, whenever Miss Yvonne was on the screen, he suddenly would stop vacuuming or whatever he was doing and just stare at the screen. At the time, I didn't know why, but
Good morning, Terry.
I figured it out. Yeah! Pee-wee introduced me to another major crush of mine, Dottie, from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I thought she was the cutest, sweetest darn thing that I had ever laid eyes on. Fun fact, just a few years ago, E.G. Daily, who played Dottie, was at a comic convention that I was at, and I had the opportunity to introduce myself to her. I totally chickened out because I would probably just wind up saying something like, I had a really huge crush on you when I was a kid, and you're the reason that I know I'm attracted to girls. I love you. Anyway, she later on went on to have a very successful career as the voice of a bunch of cartoon characters. Speaking of cartoons, She-Ra, Jem, Smurfette, Daphne. Just kidding. Daphne was lame. Both Daphne and Fred had the personality of a cardboard box. I found out very early on that I'm a Velma man. Maybe it was the bowl cut or the frumpy sweaters, or maybe I just didn't fully understand what a typical lesbian looks like. But I always had a thing for Velma. Sometimes she would get down on all fours and look around for her glasses. What were we talking about? Cartoons. And of course there was April O'Neil from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. All the other turtles had a crush on April O'Neil, but there was no chance because they were a totally different species. You can't have a crush on an animal. At least that's what I thought. What I'm about to tell you right now is something I have never told another person ever. In the 80s, there was this show called Zoobilee Zoo, and it was really, really weird. But there was one character that always caught my attention. Whazzat the Kangaroo. She was pink and fun and bubbly, and she wore leg warmers. I could not stop staring at her. I was transfixed on this hairy, hairy woman. Just a sec. Am I a furry? Nope. Moving on. This lady from the big comfy couch. She was human, but she also had this big clown nose all the time and acted like a toddler. So I have no idea what was going on there. Give me another second. Sexy clowns. I'm stupid. Next up is Sesame Street. And before you think I'm really freaky, no, I never had a crush on a Muppet. But there were a lot of humans on Sesame Street that were total smoke shows. Maria, am I right? Susan, Uncle Wally, Mr. Hooper. But the one that really caught my young eye was Gina. I had a crush on Gina the way that any kid would have a crush on their babysitter. Completely innocent and totally hopeless. But I always thought that the two of us could get along and go out sometime, get married, have babies. However, people did that. Besides, look at those amazing bangs. Wait, was I attracted to all of these people or just their bangs? My mom had bangs. Therapists near me.